to you by Bad and Bougie Entertainment. I'm your host, Miss Nikki, the CEO. We have our other beautiful host, Dr. Kanisha Gaskin. And today we have our beautiful guest, the lovely Need the Truth. That is the
Hey, we're so glad to have you. So before we get started, could you let the audience know how to reach you on your different outlets?
Yes, so you can find me on any social media platform, any music streaming platforms, YouTube, Apple Music, everything at NIE THA TRUTH. I also have a hyperlink in my bio where you can click on it. It'll bring up anything that my name is distributed on, whether it's directing a video or a video that I did or any type of music that came from myself.
all right, all
All
right.
right. So I'm hearing through the grapevine that you are what we call not Jack, but the Jill of all trades.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you care to elaborate on some of the things that you do?
Yeah, so I do a multitude of different things. I sing, I rap as well. I don't really like to call it rap, and I really like to call it artistry. That's
Right.
more so, me painting my picture, my true self. I direct videos as well, and I just started a catering company on behalf of
Okay.
Mom because she does a lot of different shows. So I be, doing some of the catering and whatnot. So I decided to open up a
Okay.
personal catering company. So I do a lot of different things. I like to write. I'm actually in the process of writing a book right now. I started it a few years back and I kind of slowed down on it, going through a different phase in my life. And then I recently, maybe about a week ago, picked back up and started writing more, adding more chapters because I've been through so much stuff since I stopped,
Right,
you know.
right.
So I do a lot of different things. I like to learn different things. I like to experience new stuff. So I don't really feel like just limiting myself to one particular avenue.
And that's what I always tell people is not to just stick to one thing because you never know how your talent can take you.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, I know that you have something coming up October the 2nd, which is
Yes.
the Crank It Up Car Show.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Presented by Bad and Bougie Entertainment. Yes, I'll be a part of that as well as a lot of other nice artists going to be there. Hawaiia's going to be there. We have Hello Chopper's going to be there. So we have a lot of different artists that bring different types of cultures from the rap industry is going to be there. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. I'm excited.
yeah, me too. Okay, give us a little bit about your background. I know you have some degrees
hmm
as well, so
Yes.
give us a little bit.
So I have a bachelor's degree in business and business fundamentals actually, and human psychology. I have my master's in that. I have about maybe a year and a half left until I get my PhD. So I will be doctor, as Miss Gaskin over here. So yes, I'm pursuing that. I like to learn, and I feel like even with business, it's kind of common sense. Like everybody does business, so you don't necessarily need a degree, but at the same time, it's awesome to have it. So like even with psychology, we deal with psychology daily. Like when you're talking to your children or you're talking to your husband, it's pretty
Right.
much the same thing. But to have that paper behind you, I like doing paper trails. So that was one of my biggest things, one of my biggest reasons for going to school. My grandmother kind of, I'm not going to say forced me, but she kind of influenced me because at one point I didn't have both of my parents. My mother, she was always there, but of course, got caught up in a lot of different things. So I didn't have either one of my parents for a while, and I was living with my grandparents. So they really kind of kept my head in the books a lot of the time. I couldn't really go to a lot of school formals and stuff like that. And at the time I was like, oh my God, Grandma, you never let me go anywhere. And then like now I'm kind of understanding why, especially as the world progresses, it's getting
Oof.
worse.
Yes.
And then I have a 7-year-old daughter, so I want to make sure I'm setting a good example for her and letting her know that it's okay to be boring, it's okay to be a nerd. Like you don't have to try to fit in with other people to make yourself feel good, so that's pretty much the route that I'm taking with that.
And that's something with society because of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Society has pressure, and just to have that support. So would you say that throughout your different life shifts, let me say that you had the support that you desired to have?
Yes, I will say that. Of course, I wish I had a little bit more at the time, but even then, if I would have had it differently, my life would be a little different right now. So even like the smallest of things, whether it's someone being there or just having a small word of encouragement, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have the drive that I had today if I wanted to change my background. So I wouldn't want to change anything coming up, of course. You know, a lot of the kids, you know, as you're growing up, I wish I was rich already. But then even if you were rich, you would have everything handed to you. You wouldn't know what hard work feels like. You wouldn't know what it feels like to actually accomplish something on your own. So I wouldn't change anything, but I'm grateful for the amount of support that I did have.
Yeah. I would always tell people rich don't equate to happiness.
Yeah.
Because you can be rich and not be happy.
Precisely.
So just to see that you have fulfilled and pretty much know the direction that you want to go is outstanding in my book, because a lot of individuals may be confused about their given talent or their purposes, but you seem to be walking into your destiny.
Yeah, I'm trying. I feel like I do have a higher calling as well outside of what I do. I'm just, you know, waiting for the Lord to really kind of just shine that light and say, hey, look, this is what I need you to do. Right now, everything that I've been doing, not just being successful with it, but also feeling good about it.
Right.
So that's why I feel like my purpose has been served in certain areas of my life. And I'm, like I said, I'm just kind of really following his footsteps. Everything that I do, I like to learn. So I like to do different things.
Yeah, so you are a video vixen and you also direct movies. So how do you feel when you direct the when you direct the videos and you see the outcome of the
I'm gonna be honest, like, it's honestly a amazing feeling, because being a vixen is one thing because you're actually in the video and then you're like, okay, look, I don't want to mess up, do this or this, and it's not necessarily your vision. You're kind of following someone else's, but like actually directing it and writing the treatments for it, it's like a whole different feeling because you're bringing someone else's vision to life. Like I can listen to a song of an artist that I don't know and instantly picture how the video should be, and then seeing their reactions on how it comes out, or when they're there, they're just having fun, you know, make it a fun set, nothing too serious. Of course, there is a time for business and pleasure, but in the same sense, you know, just kind of make it fun. And then once I actually see the edited version, and it's I don't know, it's an amazing feeling. It's like almost like graduating all over again. So
yeah, I mean, you're seeing something that you produce, that you put together, and it's amazing to see a vision be like, man, and then it probably turned out better than you expected.
Yes, and that actually been happening a lot because I've been doing a lot of directing for an artist for Reckless Clan, for, I'm not sure if you all know who he is, CJ the Gov. Yeah. CJ the Gov, he's actually Point Blank's artist. And I've been doing a lot of his most recent videos. Like we just did one a couple of weeks ago for, he did a song with Big Tuck and Charlie Boy. Yeah. And of course Point Blank was on it as well. So just kind of being in that type of environment, you know, a lot of people, they think of, like, when you think of celebrities, you think of artists, you're like, oh my God, I wonder how this is going to be. But they're actually just normal people. And just being around these people and having that energy brought together is like, it's an amazing feeling. And then, like I said, I didn't expect to even start directing. It was something that was on my mind, but it wasn't something I thought that I would be pursuing. And then once I started doing my own career, I started directing my own videos. And then I'm like, what can I do to kind of like make myself better? Like, what can I do? And then I start having other people reach out and they're like, well, I see how you did your video, so I wanted to see if maybe you can, you know, try to see what does with one of mine. I'm like, okay, we can see how it goes. And after that, I fell in love with it.
And you know, one thing I like about you is, you know how people say, oh, I have this vision, what else can I do? And they become stuck in that thought. But you seem to be able to make the vision, write it down, make it plain, and then bring it to life.
I am a firm believer in God, and I believe in this one quote outside of the Serenity Prayer, that faith without works is dead. Yes. And you can believe something all day long, but if you don't do the work to get where you're trying to go, you will not succeed in what you're trying to do. You will not get where you're trying to go. And if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, even if I fail. Just the fact that I did it, you know. Because when my grandkids later on, or my daughter later on, ask me, "Hey, Mom, you know, how does it feel to do this?" I would rather me explain to her, I did this and I failed, or I succeed, versus me saying, oh no, I was too chicken to do it.
Yeah. I always tell people failure don't equate to failure. Like it says the word failure, but it only becomes a failure if you stop.
Yeah.
If you quit, it becomes a failure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you have any videos that you would like to introduce?
Yes, I do. So I have a video. I have 2 videos actually. The first one would be one of my own. It's Payback. I did it over the James Brown, the Big Payback instrumental. So I think you guys would enjoy that. And here is Payback on YouTube by NIE THA TRUTH, directed by NIE THA TRUTH.
Big Payback by NIE THA TRUTH.
Motherfucking truth in the booth. You know I'm coming. I'm cool. Hey, say niggas wanna halfway fuck with you. Trying to get a buck from you. Ain't never seen a show, but they fake it, screaming they cut for you. Running out of juice, but they ain't refilling your cup for you. Carrots on my wrist, now we eating niggas like vegetables. They hating and we go hard. Striving from a deeper place. Fire in my veins every time I see the preacher face. Now I ain't seen him, but if I catch him creeping, it's gonna be a lot of flower bringing and slow singing. See, hating niggas always wanna flex. It's hard to digest with the size of the hole in your chest. I'm good in every hood and I ain't never need a vest. But if you test and disrespect, then I'm like Dracula at your neck. I'm trying to get my fit out, I don't mean no disrespect. But you the type to make a bitch snap the barrel on the tech. These hoes be amazing how I beat I get irate. But I don't even break them off unless they call for the bitch hit. Ain't worried about no nigga, I'm just trying to get my cheese. Celine in the dun, Gucci socks below my knees. Sauce be so drippin', make it hard for you to breathe. And you can tell just why I'm here, ain't nothing spread it but the cream. I feel like Dr. King, my reality's a dream. Coming where I'm from, being rich is unseen. Candy red hoof, I was only 17 when I was only taught to bleed the block and only peep the scene. They say my personality is really fuck 'em all. I really got that bread and then I started ducking off. I got my pussy poppin', then I started fucking off. And now I'm hanging with that yellow boy that like to suck me off. Flow be so tight, it's like a kegel when I cough. Chillin' with my niggas, getting blowed up in the loft. I keep a couple chickens in the coop, we getting lost. And if they start to move around, a couple salads get tossed. Man, hold up. Man, hold up. Hey, you know what I'm saying? This how your girl coming up in this bitch, man. Fuck all these hating ass niggas. Fuck these niggas. And these bitches. Yeah. Fuck it. Let me hit that all out. Y'all go follow me on motherfucking Instagram. Y'all go stream my music. Go fuck with a nigga. It's NIE THA TRUTH. Yeah.
Welcome back to Boss Women of Houston. So, what gave you the idea to bring the Chucky doll in and the nun outfit and the graveyard?
So at the time, I was going through a period in my life where I was kind of fighting myself with doing the right thing and wanting to do what the devil was telling me to do. So then I was like, you know what, it'd be dope if I can do a video kind of showing like the good side and the bad side. And a lot of people know Chucky as, you know, being one of those thrillers of movies. So I was like, well, I wanted to do something similar to that. And what really popped the idea in my head, I was watching Boys in the Hood one day with a few of my friends, and they were like, man, if you know you want to meet a good woman, you go to church.
Yeah.
And they was like, what you mean you can't meet a good woman at church? And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, you know, that's actually a good idea to do something like that type of theme. So we went to the church that I grew up in, and they actually don't have that church anymore. It's still standing, but they built another one down the street, a nicer one. But I didn't want to do it at the nicer one. I wanted to kind of go back to my roots.
Yeah.
So that's why I recorded it at the older church. And then we went to the cemetery where my grandparents were buried. And I think that was actually a really dope idea because it shows like me being fierce and showing that nothing's in my way. And in the beginning, of course, it was kind of like showing me as a rebel.
Yeah.
And as the video progressed, it kind of showed me being like possessed to a certain degree. And then at the same time, like towards the ending, it was like, okay, I'm out of my shell. I took my coat off, and now I'm just being this prosperous person. So I kind of came up with the idea, like I said, based on what I was going through at the time.
And where'd you get that bike from?
There was actually, believe it or not, the day of the video, the bike wasn't even supposed to be in the video. I didn't even know that bike existed. There was this little kid riding down the street. He had to be no more than like 14, 15. Riding down the street on that bike with both the Chucky dolls. And when I saw it, I was
wow.
like, I have to get
You
that in
have
there.
to get
So I
that
called him
bike.
over and I said,
'Cause
hey,
it fit.
yes.
Coincidental.
And I was like, hey, come here. He was like, what's up? And I said, dude, I need to use your bike. And you know, I'm from the country, but you know, I'm H-Town to my soul, you know, and given that the bike had a fifth wheel on the back and it was red, I was like, I have to include this in the video, and it just worked out perfect. It just ended up working out really perfect.
I like that you initiated a story from the beginning to the end, and people could see value, because people really do fight demons. People really start a certain way, and then they try to overcome their obstacles and barriers. And I believe that the video really truly captured that.
Yeah.
And was that a real nun suit? Where'd you get the nun suit?
Believe it or not, I actually pieced it together. Like, I initially wanted to go get a nun suit, like an actual nun costume, but I couldn't find one. So I was like, okay, well, I have less than 24 hours before this video shoot. Like, what can I do? I have to do something. So I went by, it wasn't Party City, it was like one of those Halloween places, and I just so happened to find the nun veil and the, I want to call it a shawl, like the little white piece that goes right there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just have to improvise. So I had the pantyhose already. Then I just had these little sexy panties to go with it, and then I had the black coat that's like actually part of one of my pantsuits, one of my business suits. So I just pieced it all together, and it came out the way that it did.
You did a really, really, really good job.
Thank you. And I literally, everything that acquired from it, just the little veil piece and that, I spent less than like $20.
You did a
creative.
Yeah, you did a really
Thank
good
you.
job. You did
I
a really
appreciate
good
that.
job.
Thank you.
So tell us how you came up with the name NIE THA TRUTH.
So initially, before my name became NIE THA TRUTH, I was called King NIE. A lot of people used to call me King NIE, and the reason why is because when I was younger, I was like 16, and I'm a church girl, and I used to do UIL choir. So I never really wanted to rap. I didn't really listen to a lot of rap music, but my brother at the time, he was like, you know, I think you should start rapping. I think you would be a dope female rapper. I was like, I can't rap. What are you talking about? So he got me to like start freestyling. So once I learned how to freestyle, like all the little dudes in the hood would be like, oh, she can't freestyle, I want to go against her. So then I started beating all the dudes in town. So then they started calling me King. And my name is Monica. My grandmother used to call me Money Toad. So at one point, it went from Money Toad to NIE. Like, people start calling me Money, and then people cut it short from Money to NIE. So then they start calling me King NIE. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna run with that. And then as I started taking my music serious and started meeting like a lot of major people in the industry, they started saying that I was the truth. They like, man, you the truth, man. You just, you know, you need to keep going. You the truth. And I'm like, the truth, that kind of sounds good. So then I started, one day I was like on stage. It was actually one of my very first concerts I did with Bugatti Bobby and Sumo. And I got on the mic. I was doing an acapella. I was basically doing like battle rap. And I was the only person that did that. Everybody else was rapping over instrumentals or whatever, but I did an acapella like it was a freestyle battle, and I called myself NIE THA TRUTH, and everybody was loving it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with that. Like, and it stuck, and everybody loves it.
It's fitting.
Thank you.
It's fitting.
Yeah. So I try to live up to my name and speak as much as my truth as I can, because I feel like my music is a perception of myself. If you don't understand my music, you don't understand me. So I really kind of try to, a lot of people are scared to be who they are. So I try to live through my music so other people won't be afraid, and they can come out of their shells and be like, okay, you know what, if she can be this way, then I can be that way too. Not necessarily exactly like me, but just being true to themselves, being real with themselves. Because if you can't be real with yourself, you can't be real with nobody else.
What would you say is your biggest inspiration, that you get your thoughts, or what allows you to get your thoughts and to be able to orchestrate them like you do?
Life. Just lessons that I go through in life. A lot of people that I meet a lot of different people, of course, because of the field that I'm in. Because I work with dementia patients and also work with CPS as well. So I meet a lot of interesting people. And then, of course, you know, I do tour management, traveling across the country, doing music festivals and stuff. So I meet a lot of interesting people. And a lot of the times, like, I just get inspired by their stories. And some of their similarities are, like, within mine. So I just get inspired by a lot of things around me. So that really kind of helps me with I'm writing as well. And a lot of the people, they listen to other people's music when they're trying to write. Believe it or not, I listen to jazz music or I listen to classical music. I really like Bach and Beatrice de Dia. She's a opera singer. So I listen to a lot of that when I'm driving. If I have writer's block or I can't think straight, I just listen to that. It inspires me.
Do you ever feel like you're in competition with any other female artists?
I do not. And the reason why is because I'm in my own lane. Honestly, I feel like the problem with the industry is that a lot of women try to compare themselves to everyone else. Yeah. So then now they're trying to undress the next person. Right. So if you see and you see one person that's naked, you feel like you have to take off a little bit more. Yeah. You know, and then it's really kind of degrading to a certain degree. But I try to keep myself as authentic as possible. Right. Like I'm not gonna say I don't talk about my vagina like a lot of women do. I don't know if I can say that word, but I don't. And but I do reference.
And you wear a jogging suit. You actually dress like a tomboy.
Yeah, I do. When I'm performing, I wear jogging suits. Like a lot of times, I'll wear like some baggy pants. I might have a piece of my underwear showing just a little bit to be a little sexy. But Aaliyah inspired me growing up. Oh, yeah. So the tomboy sexy look is kind of more of my thing, and I wouldn't want to underdress myself just because everybody else is doing it. So as far as the competition, I really don't see a competition, really.
Yeah, because remember you were on a show and someone called and said, I wanted her to be a little bit more sexy.
Yeah, so like and honestly, I laughed at it at first because I thought it was funny. She was like, oh yeah, I thought she was going to be really sexy. I showed up in a pantsuit. And I was looking like I was finna get on stage and do some Alicia Keys type. Yeah. And once I started rapping, people was looking at me crazy. They're like, is she really up there doing that? But that's just, who I am. Like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be naked on stage like I'm stripping. Like, I don't want to.
What's funny about that is that they will remember that.
Yes.
But they will remember that. And I like that you do, I like that you're not about duplication and more about authentication.
Right.
And that's the most important thing because people are not going to remember everything that's similar.
Right.
They're going to remember what's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what would you tell another female, up-and-coming female that's trying to get into the industry or that wants to be a video vixen?
I would just say, like, just be yourself. Like, honestly, just be yourself. Don't try to be like anyone else, and don't let peer pressure get in the way, because there are a lot of men in this industry that will try to tell you, oh, well, you're not looking sexy enough. I need you to do this. And I feel like if you can't accept me for who I am or how I'm coming, then you just don't need me. You don't need my authenticity. So.
But was it a woman that said that previously?
Yes.
So sometimes, as women in the industry, we can turn around and say, in order to make it, I have to be like this and I have to do this. But I like the point that you were like, hey, I'm just being me.
Right.
Okay. Let's go into another video.
Okay, so the next video that I'm going to introduce is a video that I personally directed. I chose location and everything by CJ the Gov and Untamed, BP Untamed of Skrilla Fam. And it is called Heard Our Names. And I hope you guys enjoy it because I enjoyed creating everything about it.
Heard Our Names.
Skrilla Fam Untamed. Kings of remakes. Yeah. Let's go. Hating ass niggas gon' step back. Yeah. Let's go.
Your name, but you heard her name. Skrilla Fam Untamed. Shit changed. We been doing the same thing. We been stacking this change. Turning up the city, yeah, we got it on theme. Stacking pretty bitches all up in the bins. Look how far we came, still ain't close to the end.
Hey, came from a scrub, nice bitches in the backseat. Running up dubs, pass them off like a track meet. I be in the club, ain't no nigga gon' tag me. I be rolling dolly, but that stick be in the past seat. I don't roll with many unless they part of my gang. Too many fake smiles, I ain't got time for the game. I don't need no handouts, I be stacking up green. Rolling up, stunning, all these bitches gon' scream. Skrilla Fam Untamed, getting money all night. Diamonds gon' shine in the dark all the light. If you like us, then book us everything for a price. We gon' pull up on you, shut it down, yeah, that's right.
But you heard her name. Skrilla Fam Untamed. Shit changed. We been doing the same thing. We been stacking this change. Yeah. Turning up the city, yeah, we got it on theme. Stacking pretty bitches all up in the bins. Look how far we came, still ain't close to the end.
Hey,
Nah, 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 nah.
I'm Ray Charles to the hate, but I'm seeing all that love. Fuck doing drugs, bust you down like a bud. I'm a Texas ass nigga, it get hot when I come. I be holding on the drum, 100 shots in my gun. Pop, 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 I'ma bust on that ass. Got a couple ops, but I'm covering the tabs. I'm a 4-1 nigga, keep the green in the bag. I used to be broke, now I'm ballin', no pass. Untamed, that's the name, yeah, you heard it, get high, nigga. Heard you was a snake, I can't hang if you bite, niggas. I be loading up the jets, might just couple flights with her. Every time she wet, she be acting like she likes swimming. Can't hang with no niggas, that's they part of my game. Skrilla fan my team, bout to take over the game. I'm a real ass nigga, you know I ain't shit changed. Got a city on lock, man, I'm screaming my name.
But you heard her name. Skrilla fam untamed. Shit changed. We be doing the same thing. We been stacking this change. Yeah. Burning up the city, yeah, we got it on tape. Stacking pretty bitches all up in the bins. Look how far we came, still ain't close to the end.
Yeah, hey,
Nah, 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 nah.
I'ma buy a couple drinks, just don't get too drunk. Tryna take your ass home, come and fuck with the gov. Nothing too serious, it's all about fun. Don't touch too much in the club, that's my gun. You fucking with a player, yeah, you fucking with a boss, nigga. I be dropping ops, tell a hater get lost, nigga. I just need some top, baby, blow me like a whole switch. I'ma throw them bands, just stunting on them broke niggas. 2 + 2 = 4, and that's facts. Me plus you equals fucking in the bank. Got too much to lose, gotta keep this shit on wraps. I'ma beat it up,
I
might
don't
just pull
know
out
her
the
name,
tracks.
but you heard her name. Skrilla fam untamed. Shit changed. We be doing the same thing. We been stacking this change. Yeah. Turning up the city, yeah, we got it on tape. Stacking pretty bitches all up in the bins. Look how far we came, still ain't close to the end.
Hey,
Nah, 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 nah.
Hating ass niggas gon' still back. Hating ass niggas gon' still back. Hating ass niggas gon' still back.
Wow, can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired you with that video?
Well, I just listened to the song. First of all, CJ the Gov is actually my cousin.
Right.
We didn't even know we were related. We've been doing music this whole time. We've had the same last name. And he added me on Facebook one day, and I just so happened to see his last name, and I was like, Beaumont. I was like, I have family from Beaumont.
Yeah.
Then I have a mutual friend, G Fats. He's a Latino rapper. And he was like, I don't know, man. I think y'all kind of related. Y'all act alike all the time. And I was like, I don't know. So we got on the phone one day, and he was like, I don't know, man. You might recognize some people from my page. So I went to his page, started scrolling through his pictures, and I saw my dad's sister on his page. I said, what you do with my auntie on your page?
Wow.
He was like, that's not your auntie because that's my auntie. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
So after that, I ended up going to Beaumont to his mother's house, and like it was just history.
Yeah.
So, and that's been since November, so it hasn't even been a year yet since
He's
we.
a real cool guy.
Yeah, it hasn't been since
wow.
it hasn't even been a year yet. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
So, you know, I'm going to put you on the spot, Miss NIE THA TRUTH. Can you sing us a little something?
Sure. So a lot of the vocals that I do portray, a lot of the times I've been inspired by Mariah Carey, Beyonce, you know, a lot of different people. And there's this one song in particular that I do like. I actually was listening to it on the way over here. I don't know why, but for some reason I had a feeling you were going to ask me to sing it anyway. So I was like, you know what? If I ever got put on the spot by anybody, this would be the song that I would sing. So, head down as I watch my feet take turns hitting the ground. I find myself in love racing the earth, and I'm soaked in your love now. And love is right in my path, in my grasp, in thee, and you belong. I wanna run smash into you. I wanna run, smash into you.
Girl, it's the runs for me.
It's one of my favorite songs by Beyonce on her Sasha Fierce album, the one she did, the dual album, and it was one of the songs that actually kind of helped me through one of my toughest times too. So, yes,
it's the runs, the breathing control. You know, I'm sitting up here looking like, what is she?
That's why you sing it.
She say run, I start running.
Look, I'm running to it.
I started running. Okay.
Yes.
True. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
She know I was
Oh,
gonna put
wow.
her on
You
I
have a
swear, I don't know
beautiful
why,
voice.
but for some reason on the way over here, I was like, I don't know why, but if I sing at any given point today, this is gonna be the song I sing.
Stay ready so you never have to prepare to be
time.
ready.
Exactly. And you know
Yes.
what? When I was younger, I used to get put on the spot all the time, and I used to be like, oh my God, no, I can't sing right now. You're gonna have to catch me later. And then I ended up meeting Heavy.
Yeah.
And he told me one time, he said, this was actually right after the Paul Wall video shoot, and he asked me to rap for him. And I almost froze up, and I did it, and he was like, you know, a lot of people freeze up, but at any given point, if I was someone ready to give you a $10 million record deal right now, you got to be able to get on the spot. And ever since then, I said, you know what? I'm going to keep one in the chamber every time.
You hear me? Let me tell you something. God knew who to get that voice to.
Right.
Because, baby, if I'd have had it, you couldn't shut me up.
Yes.
That's
You remember we did the little girl like that at the mall, and she couldn't.
And she couldn't do it. She just froze up. And I love singing. Honestly, it was my first love. And I used to do choir for UIL in school. I won first place all district every year that I did it. And I grew up in the church singing. So, like, my mom, even to this day, like, she enjoys my rap music, but every time I see you should start doing a little more singing in your music. You need to start singing. I want to hear some vibrations. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. So this next album I'm working on is actually including more vocals than it is rap. Of course, I'm still rapping, but it's more like a Janae Aiko type of vibe. So
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can definitely get into that.
I had to put her on the spot. She knew I was gonna do it.
She had it on here. Oh wow, that beautiful voice, brain,
And
beauty,
And
talent,
she's a model.
and model. I mean, that's what I said. All the trades that a person could want to have, you're mastering it. You're doing it. So, what would you tell the little girl that's shy and that want to catapult into a butterfly? What would you tell them?
just be yourself. It's okay to be shy. It's okay to feel like people are gonna judge you, but at the same time, they judge God.
Yep.
They judge God, and
And
look
talked
at
about him,
what's going on.
honey.
They talked about him, and he's still the Most High.
Come on
And that
now.
doesn't do anything. If anything, it should add more flame to your fire.
Yeah.
Should add more fuel to your flame.
fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Like, there's really nothing to be afraid of. Either you can lose or you can win. You'll never know. Just be yourself. Just be yourself.
So, what do you see yourself in the next maybe 4 to 5 years?
Well, I do have plans to open a few other establishments because, as I stated before, I do work with Alzheimer's and dementia. I work with CPS children as well. And Mom and I actually were talking, well, Miss Nikki and I were talking a while back about doing some stuff with, like, battered women. So because I know women that has been through that, and also being a victim of it myself at a young age, it was just, I want to be able to relate to these women and let them know that you don't have to let what you go through define who you are.
Right.
That doesn't have to be your final destination.
Yeah.
So I do plan on opening up a few facilities. I do want to open a building that has multiple different levels, so you can go in. It'll be like a dance studio, it'll be a recording studio, a quiet library, just something for if you need to get away. It don't have to necessarily have one specific alternative. It could just be any time you need to get away and figure out who you are, or just have some alone time. I just want to do something like that because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to give what I didn't
resource
have.
for
Right.
people.
Right.
Yeah,
You should
wanna be a
definitely do
resource.
cooking classes.
Yes,
girl
that'll
can
actually be
cook.
the. Oh yes, girl, I can burn. Girl, look, not to toot on. Oh, you're making me drool now. You're making me drool.
This girl can cook. And when I had COVID, she took care of me. When I I was really sick, and I was gonna still try to go to work. And she's like, "I'm about to call your kid." She took me to the hospital, and they told me if I hadn't came when I came, I wouldn't have made it.
Jesus.
She got me there just in time.
I like it how God will place people in your life.
She's
when
like,
you
"I'm
really
calling
need 'em.
your kids."
I'm talking about she was suited and booted, had on a full uniform. I'm finna go out the door. No, you ain't. Where you going? You're not going anywhere. We finna go. If we're gonna go anywhere, it's gonna be across this hospital street. That's where we finna go.
She's like, "I'm finna call. I'll explain to your kids that
You know. And she was like, just drop me off. I'll drop you off. No. Drop you off where? No. Stay by the side the whole time. Shoot, I don't want you to catch it. Look, if I catch it, it was God's intention.
Baby,
It was
I
God's intention.
Sick as a dog, girl. And if they told me if I wouldn't have, I stayed. She stayed there, and she was like, "Yeah, I wouldn't have made it."
So now we talked about all that. What would you say that you feel like God has placed you?
I feel like He's placed me as a voice to speak to people. I feel like God uses me a lot to get through to some people. Because there was one day, actually, I'm going to speak of this. It was maybe about 2 months ago. And my boyfriend and I, well, my fiance and I were actually having a disagreement about some things. And I was telling him about himself. And normally I try to be nice about it. But this particular day, I felt like he needed to hear it. And I couldn't find the words to say it. And then once I started telling him about himself, all these different things just started coming, like feeding into my soul. And I was telling him, and it got so bad to the point to where he cried. And I felt bad about it. But then he called me like an hour or two later after he left. And he was like, I'm glad that you told me that, because I really needed to hear it. And I just feel like he's placing me as someone to get through if he can't get through, because a lot of the times we misunderstand between God and the devil talking to us. Sometimes we'll feel like God's talking to us and it's really the devil. So I feel like he's using me to be that voice for him.
Amazing. Well, we hate to wrap it up because you're so interested, and I believe that we could talk to you all day because you're very interested. We like how you put God first. We like how you're focused on your education, and we like that family matters the utmost to you.
Yes.
And also that you're being all that to everybody else, but you're also being everything that you dream to be.
Yes.
So I think that is something to be praised.
Yes,
Something to be praised.
absolutely, I agree. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So we enjoy you, and we should have you back. So next time, this is Boss Women of Houston. So until next time, love, peace, and unity.